Hi everybody, my name is Todd Marhold. I'm with the Las Vegas Area Council for the Scouts here in the state of Nevada. We're doing this impromptu training class for Leave No Trace front country camping here in the comforts of our home because it's 115 degrees outside and I'm not going to go outside and sweat on camera. Also present is my lovely wife Mary and my lovely daughter Celeste. They will be disembodied voices because they refuse to go on camera. However, they will be participating in our discussion. This will be a foreshortened discussion on front country camping, also referred to as car camping or glamping, because it doesn't go into the interiors of the wildlands, but we'll discuss that briefly later. Some of what we're going to talk about during this discussion is exactly what front country camping is, how we can apply the Leave No Trace principles to front country camping, which also includes going to our local parks and recreation areas, and briefly discuss the types of equipment that we will take while doing our front country adventure. Okay, planning and preparation for front country camping is probably the most important thing. It's generally a gateway for individuals that are not big outdoorsmen, outdoor people that have not gone hiking, to experience the great outdoors with minimal hazard to themselves. All they have to do is grab a picnic basket if they want to, get in their car and go to an improved campsite, lakeside, beach, and go on what we classify as durable surfaces where they minimize the impact to the environment. Front country camping differs from wildland camping or backcountry camping in so much that it's generally an improved campsite, like at a national park or a state park or even a luxury RV park. And generally those campsites are improved, if not asphalted for the RV or your tents or your cooking areas. They're going to at least have a chaff, a dirt-like hard surface, and with relative vegetation around the periphery for beautification purposes only. Now, when we expand to front country camping, we need to plan, as I stated earlier, for that to be a success. Here in the great Southwest, here in our beautiful state of Nevada, which it's not beautiful except up in Tahoe, we are prone to having tarantula migrations every couple of years. Imagine yourself going out with your lovely family and your animals, setting up your lovely picnic site, and then all of a sudden you're descended upon by millions of migrating tarantulas. Would that end your fun? It certainly would mine. So you want to plan ahead for that. Plus, we fall prey to inclement weather. In the desert, as I said, it's 115 degrees out as we speak. If we don't plan appropriately and take enough water or hydration materials like electrolytes and salt, we could succumb to our environment. Now, there are pros and cons to front country camping. Front country camping tends to bring people together in an improved campsite very closely, and that will leave you sometimes involved with other campers that are disrespecting the campsite by playing loud music, They've got obnoxious kids that are running all around. Their animals aren't leashed. They're running around. They're pooping all over the campsite. And generally, people that don't have a lot of experience in camping or the outdoors aren't savvy and aren't aware of the 7 principles of leave no trace, which I'm going to go through right now. The first is to plan ahead and prepare. You're going to do that on everything. Even if it's going to be a day hike with a day pack, you're going to plan ahead and prepare for it. Second is to travel and camp on durable surfaces like we talked about, where you're going to minimize the impact to vegetation, water areas such as seashores, river shores, stream beds, because there are microalgae that we don't want it to disturb. We're going to leave what we find. That comes especially into play because there's a lot of Native American heritage sites here. And you can go out to the Valley of Fire or Red Rock Canyon and go hiking on a day hike and conceivably come across old broken pottery of the Paiute and Ute tribes or arrowheads, and we're all tempted to pick those up, souvenirs, and put them in our pockets, but we are encouraged to leave them there for others to enjoy. Also, we're going to dispose of our waste properly. You're going to pack your trash in, and then you're going to pack your food in, and then you're going to pack your trash back out. That also includes our poop and our dog's poop. And there are various containers and vessels in which you can do so. And at all expenses, you're going to pack out your toilet paper. In only the most extreme case, you may have to dig what is referred to as a cat hole and bury your poop in the cat hole. And there's instructions for doing that, which we're not going to go into at this time. Also, we're going to minimize any campfire impacts. We need to even ask ourselves, depending on what we're doing or where we're going, do we even need a campfire? Sure, they're great ambiance. Everybody loves to get around the campfire, tell ghost stories, make s'mores. But do we really need a campfire? Again, in the middle of the Mojave Desert in 115 degrees, I think not. Okay, we're going to respect wildlife. We use a rule of thumb when we deal with wildlife. If you can take your thumb and cover the wildlife that you see, you're probably at a sufficient distance. The last thing you want to do is go chase these animals. Remember, they're wild, they have their own agendas, and they perceive threats differently than we as human beings see. We see all the time on TV where people want to run out. They just had an incident in South Dakota, I believe, where during the Sturgis motorcycle run, a lady got off her Harley and she had to run up and take a picture of a bison and its calf and wound up getting gored very seriously. This happens all the time. I remember when I was a little kid and we'd go on vacation to Yellowstone and Grand Teton, repeatedly there are signs that say, do not, molest the animals, do not feed the animals, stay in your cars. People would literally stop on the road, get out of their cars, and run towards these bears to take their pictures. And what happens then? The bear attacks the human, the bear's put down because it becomes a liability at that point. And be considerate of others. Now, that means when we're camping, when we're hiking. My daughter, who is not an outdoorsy girl, just had her first camping experience. How did that camping experience go?
I mean, it was definitely a surprise, a lot of fun. Camping is definitely a new experience from just experiencing the outdoors. I went with 2 families, lots of kids running around, pets. So it was entertaining to see everything.
How were those kids acting? Were they well behaved, or were they bored and starting to act out because they didn't have their electronics?
Yeah, they were definitely upset to not have electronics handy, and so, we took our best to get them involved with games or hiking, but they did become a little rambunctious. They started their own fire in the, middle of the night while the adults were sleeping, so, they kind of took the camp into their own hands, which,
Certainly would produce a hazardous situation.
yeah, absolutely. We were very surprised.
Yes. Mary, have you ever had an experience, albeit maybe not on camping because you don't go to anything less than a Hilton suite, with a beach view? Have you ever had any experiences like at the park or at the beach where you've been disturbed by discourteous beachgoers or campers?
Well, of course, people who don't keep their dog on leash, whether it's at the park or the beach, and the trash that's left behind. Look at spring break. After everybody leaves, there's nothing but trash. And so that's disturbing.
Yeah, and it doesn't make it enjoyable for anybody
Right.
to go to a campsite or a beach or a park and have to trip through dog poop, trip through trash and stuff. Part of our motto in LNT with scouting, I have NYLT, Wood Badge, I have so many acronyms. In the Leave No Trace community is leave it better than you found it. Chief Seattle, the founding chief up in Washington State, was quoted to say, leave nothing but take nothing but memories, leave nothing but footprints. And our goal in the LNT community is leave nature, leave the environment better than you found it. And if that means picking up somebody else's trash, and packing it out, let's do it. Let's keep this natural environment beautiful for other generations to enjoy. Thank you for your time. We'll do more when we have more time. Thank you.